The way that I used to do street photography and the way that I know that a lot of you are still doing street photography is kind of miserable, so I want to help you fix it. Hey everybody, I'm Nick. If you're new here, I'm a full-time traveler and street photographer living out of a suitcase now for a couple of years. I make videos here on YouTube about street photography, travel, life in general as a creative person, so if you're new around here, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button, stick around for more. My partner and I recently took a ferry ride to an island near the city of Seattle, just on a day trip, and it got me thinking, I should document this and talk about how I approach a day of street photography now versus how I used to go about it, which was a little bit intense. And truth be told, street photography can already be kind of intense and confrontational depending on the day. It can also be frustrating because in street you have so little control over the variables that can affect the outcome of the photos that you walk away with on a day out. So today I want to talk about how to make a day of street photography much more enjoyable. First of all, take the pressure off getting good photos. In my opinion, you have to train your brain to enjoy everything around photography, the whole process, not just capturing a good photo. I've touched on this a little bit before in past videos, but if everything is kind of riding on photography, that's the sole purpose of your day, it's really easy to be let down if you don't get the results you were hoping for. I've been there before dozens of times. But if you're excited about taking a ferry ride with your partner or visiting a new museum or trying on a new cafe or restaurant or just taking a walk around a part of the city that you don't see very often, at least the entire outcome of the day isn't riding on whether or not you get the photographic results that you wanted. You know, you're already gonna have a good day out. So if you even get just a few photos on your way, between the different stops you have planned, then that's just a bonus. And I'm not saying don't take photography seriously. You can plan a day out around photography locations or areas that you want to focus on. The point of the day can be photography without, it only being about photography. Another thing that I've touched on a little bit before that I want to expand upon in this video is that your art deserves to have time dedicated to it. I've given the advice in the past to dedicate an entire day to street photography or just photography in general. If you're serious about photography, then put in the time, make it a priority. But when I say that, I'm not saying spend 12 hours staring through a viewfinder. I have been the photographer, I have talked to the photographer, I have gone on photo walks with the photographer who just kind of shows up and wanders without a plan. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. There's a time and a place for that. That's still something that I do quite a bit. If I just have a couple of hours after work or if I'm not taking photography all that seriously that day. But while that can be a lot of fun in certain areas and small doses, on certain occasions, I think that planning an entire day around photo hotspots and places that you want to shoot will set you up to be in the mindset to take photography seriously. And when you put the time in and you take the effort to plan the day in advance, not just wander, you'll exponentially increase the likelihood that you walk away from that day with a whole bunch of great photos that you're really happy with. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that. I've definitely heard other photographers here in the YouTube community or just in person at photography events talk about, planning out their whole photography route. Whether you do that with waypoints on a GPS app or, you just make notes in your phone or whatever, I think that being intentional about not only blocking off the time to do photography, but taking the time and effort to actually plan the whole day. That's absolutely the easiest, quickest way to maximize your chances of getting great photos. So we've talked about taking the pressure off of photography, not letting that be the only thing that rules whether you have a good or a bad day. We've talked about setting yourself up for success, and dedicating time to your art, to your craft, putting in the effort to get great results, the last thing I want to talk about is just remembering that you are a human being. You're a human being too, and you deserve to have fun. You deserve to enjoy the day out. Personally, I can be really intense about photography. It's the main creative outlet in my life. Back when I used to be predominantly a musician, I remember how I let songwriting and band practice and recording and editing consume my life, and photography is no different. I think that as creative people, we need to have an outlet that allows us to channel our creativity into something productive, but a lot of the time we can focus far too much on the outcome and not nearly enough on the process and how much we enjoy it, or whether we actually do at all. So while I have had so many great days where I've walked 20,000 steps around some city, putting in the miles, putting in the effort, coming home with 2,000 photos, there's a time and a place for that, just like there's a time and a place for wandering around without a plan too. We need balance, and I know that from my personal experience, I'm still working on retraining my brain to not go into this like FOMO panic mode of like needing to photograph every single thing and get these great shots every time I go out. Photography doesn't have to be like that, even if you are taking it really seriously. So if that resonates with you, if you got anything from this video, don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. Help me out with the algorithm. Thank you as always for watching. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you very soon in the next one.